This video is a first introduction to styling your code with CSS. When HTML was first introduced, CSS did not exist. So the old way was to add attributes to your HTML and tags to style the enclosed text. The problem with this is it mixes style with presentation, and it's incredibly hard to maintain, and it's also pretty limited on what you can do. Why mention it? Well, a lot of websites still use it, so it may be something that you run into, especially if you become a web developer. The next few slides contain an overview of old school styling. We will not be using this type of styling in class. In old school styling, there were lots of attributes that you could add to the body tag in order to style the whole document. This table summarizes a list of all of them. They are all deprecated and should be avoided. Here's an example of how all of those attributes would have been applied to the body tag. Similarly, you could add attributes to the image tag to style it. You could also use the align attribute in headings and paragraphs to control the alignment of text within a paragraph or heading. Finally, the font tag was used to adjust the font face, the size, and color of text. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. As I previously mentioned, it has replaced the old school styling. CSS is used to define how the browser will display your HTML elements. It has a different syntax than HTML. The benefits of CSS are that you have much more control over the layout and appearance of your page. It's much easier to maintain. It can streamline documents and make them more accessible. To prepare your code for CSS, you want to write the best HTML you possibly can. So you need to mark up your HTML document correctly. You need to close all of your tags. You should use meaningful tags that match the content. So a heading is a heading, a paragraph is a paragraph element, a list is a list. And do not leave text unformatted. So there shouldn't be any text in your document that isn't wrapped with a tag. The first type of CSS that we will learn is inline styles. Inline styles use the style attribute to add CSS to an HTML element. Here's an example where two styles have been applied to a paragraph. First, the color of the text has been changed to red, and then the font weight has been set to bold. The first step in writing inline styles is to add the style attribute to the opening tag. In the example, we've added style equals opening quotes, closing quotes to an H2 tag. The next step is to add a CSS declaration inside the quotes. A declaration is sometimes just called a style. The syntax for declaration is the property name, a colon, followed by a value. In the example, we have color, blue. Color is the property and blue is the value. Finally, add more CSS declarations. Declarations are separated by semicolons. The semicolon is optional for the last declaration listed. In the example, we've added a second declaration for font size. As I already mentioned, the CSS property color is used to define the text color. You have three options for defining the value: the name, an RGB value, or a hexadecimal value. Let's take a closer look at each. You can use the HTML color word like red, green, blue, gold, coral, or indigo. In the example, we have styled the body to have a color red. You can find a list of the HTML color names at the W3 Schools website. The next choice is to use the RGB value. In an RGB value, red, green, and blue are listed separately as a number from 0 to 255. The format for specifying an RGB is RGB parentheses, the red value, comma, the green value, comma, the blue value, closing parentheses. In the example, the H1 has been styled to red. The final option is to specify the hexadecimal value. The format for the hex value is a pound sign followed by 6 numbers or letters. The first 2 digits represent the red value, the second 2 the green, and the third 2 the blue. Hexadecimal is a base 16 number system. So 00 means no color and FF means fully saturated color. In the example, the first 2 digits are F and the following 4 digits are 0. This means that this color will be red. The hex value is the standard color format for specifying color on the web. The html-color-codes.info website lists more hexadecimal values. The property font family is used to specify the font. There are 2 options. You can specify a font family like serif, sans serif, monospace, cursive, fancy, or you can specify a specific font like Arial, Courier, or Times. Specific font names should be capitalized. You are also limited by the fonts installed on a user's computer. If they do not have Arial, the browser will not display it. However, you can specify multiple fonts separated by a comma. If the user does not have the first font, the browser will look for the next in the list, and so on. The property font size is used to specify the size of the font. It can be specified as a unit of length, like pixels, points, centimeters, ems, or so on. It can also be specified as a %, or a keyword. The examples show 3 different ways to specify the font. 1 as a %, 2 as a unit of length, and 3 as a keyword. Finally, the property background color specifies the background color for the element. Just like the property color, it can be specified as a name, an RGB value, or hexadecimal value. The 3 examples show an example of each. 3 common problems when writing inline styles are a typo in the property or value, a missing colon between the property and value, or a missing semicolon between declarations. This video is just a first step into CSS styling. Over the rest of the semester, we'll be learning a lot more styles, as well as 2 other methods for writing styles. There are 2 websites that offer CSS references and tutorials to help you learn CSS. There are many more listed in your resources in Blackboard. You will find even more references and tutorials if you search the internet.